Good Morning San Antonio starts right now.
And a good morning to you. It is Thursday, December 21st.
Thanks for joining us. We've had some issues on the roadways this morning, but first we're going to go ahead and check in with Mia to see how our day's looking.
Yep, it is a gray and a dreary start out there, that's for sure. We've got the overcast skies in place, a little bit of fog and mist here in San Antonio, and in some areas we even have some pockets of drizzle and a few light showers roaming across south central Texas. Let's get you the latest look here at Authority Radar. You can see here in Bexar County, for the most part, not a whole lot of notable rain, just a little shower out there on the far west side near the Alamo Ranch community. A few more showers approaching Highway 90 just south of Hondo. That'll be moving through your area over the next 30 minutes. A few more up into the hill country, and we do have some showers near Cuero out there in DeWitt County. That is moving across the coastal plains, also headed north. Generally throughout the remainder of the day, while yes, the patchy fog that we have in place will break up a bit more, generally expect the cloud cover to stick with us, and a few more showers will be possible, especially by late afternoon and into the evening. So if you are planning on heading out and about, not a bad idea to at least keep the rain gear handy should you briefly need to use it. Temperatures pretty mild this afternoon, topping off near about 70 degrees. What you can expect throughout the rest of the week, generally more of the same. Some morning rounds of patchy fog and drizzle. That leads in a few passing showers into the afternoon. Mild temperatures there as well. A slightly better chance for rain Saturday night and early Christmas Eve morning. But then we see our next cold front arrive. That will clear us out by Sunday night, leading to a windy but pleasant Christmas day. Much drier with low humidity and sunshine. So we'll get you another look at your Authority Radar. Time out the latest futurecast over the next several days in just a bit. But first, let's send things over to RJ. How are the roads looking right now, RJ?
All right, Mia, well, dreary. That's a good way to describe what we've seen all morning on our roadways. A lot of major crashes throughout most of the morning. And here is yet another one here. We're looking at Loop 410. This is the southbound lanes. Actually, these are northbound lanes, and these are southbound lanes coming at you. So Loop 410 at East Houston Street, we have an 18-wheeler crash. So this just popped up on our radar about 20 minutes ago. What we're being told is that there was this 18-wheeler that was traveling on the northbound lanes, lost control, struck the concrete barrier right here, the median, and pushed the concrete barrier onto the southbound lanes. So we have major delays here in both directions, as you can see. Again, northbound here, this 18-wheeler, as looks like San Antonio Fire Department and San Antonio Police Department crews are trying to clear this scene here. And we also have emergency vehicles on the other side here, which is the southbound lanes. Let's see what this looks like on our maps real quick. And again, this has just started to build up pretty fast over the past 15 minutes or so. We're seeing about traffic moving at about 11 miles per hour throughout this thoroughfare here. Again, 18-wheeler crash in both directions, Loop 410 at East Houston. So if you need to find some sort of alternate routes, fortunately, we do have a major thoroughfare running through here. This is South W.W. White. If you're coming from the northbound side, you could exit there, right there at I-10. And if you're coming from this direction, the southbound side, you could exit here at Rigsby to get onto WWY. But we are starting to see traffic build up in that area there as well. Want to give you just one check here at the rest of the city. Things looking pretty good. We had a car fire that was reported at 37 South near the Alamo Dome. That has been cleared out. So everything else looking good. We will continue to monitor this and give you any more updates as they become available to us. But again, both directions here, Loop 410 at East Houston, are severely delayed because of an 18-wheeler crash out there. Mark and Stephanie, back to you guys.
Busy morning. Thank you, RJ.
Let's look at today's 9 at 9.
After being wrongfully detained in Venezuela, 6 Americans are back on U.S. soil. Venezuela also released 4 additional Americans and extradited a former military contractor who fled to Venezuela after escaping house arrest in San Diego. For the U.S., as part of the agreement, President Biden granted clemency to an alleged investor for the Venezuelan president. The White House says it hopes this move will lead to a more democratic Venezuela.
The situation at the border is getting worse as the surge of migrants continues. Now, Governor Abbott says he will start flying migrants to Chicago because the city is obstructing Texas's busing mission. It comes after Abbott signed a law that would authorize local police to arrest migrants suspected of crossing the border illegally.
The TSA says the holiday travel period kicks off today with one of the busiest days, and a potentially record-setting stretch could collide with some winter weather. The FAA is working closely with airlines to plan for that possibility. They're also opening additional military airspace for the busy stretch between now and New Year's.
Our confidence in the economy is on the rise. The Conference Board says its consumer confidence index has jumped to its highest mark in 5 months. Despite worries about inflation, more Americans say they're planning to buy major appliances, cars, and homes soon.
Wall Street is breaking its win streak. The Dow ended down 1.3%, and the S&P and Nasdaq each losing 1.5% yesterday. Stock markets had been rising steadily since last week on hopes that interest rate cuts could be coming as early as next spring.
The electric scooter rental company Bird, found in many U.S. cities, including San Antonio, has filed for bankruptcy protection. Bird was founded in 2017 and went public in 2021, but its losses piled up as the company focused more on growth and market share than profitability. The e-scooter company was one of the fastest startups to ever reach $1 billion valuation.
Toyota is recalling about 1 million vehicles over a potential problem with the passenger airbag. The recall covers 15 Toyota and Lexus models, including the Camry, Sienna, and RAV4, as well as the Lexus RX 350 and ES 350. The model years are between 2020 to 2022. Toyota will notify owners of the recalled vehicles by the middle of February.
Get ready to dig deeper for your car insurance next year. The Insurance Information Institute says higher prices for cars, replacement parts, and repairs are all combining to push rates higher. And that's on top of the nearly 19% jump this year compared to last year.
Home sales are still on an upswing. The National Association of Realtors says sales of existing homes bounced up 0.8% in November compared to October, the first rise in 5 months. But the inventory of homes is still very low, keeping prices near record highs. And that's today's 9 at 9.
A disaster. That's how the situation at the border is being described as authorities are overwhelmed by the surge of migrants trying to cross over.
As we've already reported, rail lines have been closed. And now, as ABC's Derek Dennis reports, Governor Abbott is taking new action.
This morning, the crisis at the southern border going airborne. Texas Governor Greg Abbott releasing video and announcing he's now flying migrants to Chicago, 120 arriving on the first flight because the city, quote, started obstructing and targeting our busing mission. It comes after Abbott signed a law this week that, if upheld, would authorize local police to arrest migrants suspected of crossing the border illegally, a record 12,600 crossing in one day alone. ABC's Maria Villarreal is in Eagle Pass, Texas.
There has been a steady flow of migrants funneling through this grassy pit. One group leaves on a bus and another one is escorted over the riverbank. Just yesterday, 4,400 apprehensions in this area alone. Many will wait 10 to 12 hours just to be processed. Some will wait up to 2 days. Overnight, they'll sleep on this dirt with no shelter, just the clothes on their back and those foil blankets. Processing facilities are full. Agents tell me they are overworked and overwhelmed.
We need to surge immigration judges to the border. This is America. People need to get their cases heard in days, not years. And if they do not qualify for asylum, they need to be deported.
And now growing concern about the economic impact of this surge in migrants. Officials recently closed some rail crossings at the border, halting freight trains that carry everything from produce to auto parts. One rail company says the shutdown is costing $200 million per day. Smugglers play a major role in this crisis. A U.S. official says people acting as travel agents in places as far away as Africa are helping migrants travel to Mexico before being connected with smugglers for the trip to the U.S. border. Derek Dennis, ABC News.
On a lighter note, their holiday plans are set for today. A lot of people are a bit up in the air, or will be very soon. As we mentioned, this is one of the busiest days for Christmas travel at San Antonio's airport.
Our Katrina Weber is there and tells us, along with all the families flying out, there are thousands of military members on leave too.
We're in the middle of a military mass exodus, what I like to call Operation Out of Here. Now, the military calls this a home block leave, a chance for them to spend the holidays with family and friends. That's the same idea that a lot of people here have. This morning, it was less than standing room only in both terminals of the airport. Everyone with an early flight got here even earlier than waited in long lines. Military members arrived by the busload. For some, this is their first chance to go home since signing up. and they have a lot of plans for this free time.
I'm asleep. I'm going to try and get my mom to make spaghetti and a lot of the stuff that I liked to eat when I was kids, and I'm going to try to go to the zoo.
Even though this is the holiday travel season, the extra long lines caught some people by surprise. Most stayed calm. If you're planning to fly out of here in the next few days, the best advice comes from the airport, and that is to arrive early. And at this time, that means getting here at least 2 hours before your boarding time. Reporting from San Antonio International Airport, Katrina Weber, KSAT 12 News.
8 minutes past the hour, 62 degrees. Still ahead on GMSA at 9.
A lot of gifts are going around right now, but some of them could be dangerous for kids. Later in the show, we're going to speak with a Consumer Reports expert about the products parents should avoid to keep their children safe and why they're raising concerns.
Plus, a look at the travel situation around the country if you are flying out of state over the next few days. We want to go back to TransGuide real quick and show you the big incident that RJ is tracking right now, an incident involving a big rig that's got southbound 410 closed over at East Houston. You'll also notice that only one lane northbound is still getting by. Looks like they're working to clear up this incident, but RJ is in the studio. He is tracking the latest, and we'll hope to have an update later in the hour. Well, speaking of luck, good luck to you if you're traveling today by air. With just 4 days till Christmas, millions of people are preparing to hit the skies.
But a massive storm bearing down on the West Coast could have ripple effects across the country. As ABC's Andrew Dimbert reports, the first evacuation warnings have already been issued.
The holiday travel rush is on. Airports today are bracing for the busiest day of the season with nearly 49,000 planes in the air.
There's a lot of people going in many different directions. Just got to bring your patience.
The biggest problem, the weather. A slow-moving storm could dump 10 inches of rain in parts of Southern California, potentially triggering mudslides and air travel delays that could impact the rest of the country. On the East Coast, neighborhoods are underwater days after a powerful storm slammed multiple states, killing 6 people. Some rivers in New Jersey are at major flood stage through tomorrow. Boats were needed to rescue people in Little Falls.
We had to leave because our heat went out. So, with the kids, and I'm expecting we couldn't do it anymore.
In Maine, several people rescued after a river overflowed its banks. It could be days before power is fully restored. Bad weather last year caused a staffing meltdown at Southwest Airlines. Just this week, the airline was hit with a record fine. It will now be required to give passengers a $75 voucher for any significant delays caused by the airline.
You need to take care of your passengers, and if you don't, there will be consequences. We will hold you accountable.
Security also a concern, with the TSA seizing a record number of guns. Agents at Reagan National outside Washington stopped a man with this loaded handgun. And at New York's LaGuardia Airport, 17 bullets were found hidden inside a diaper in a carry-on. Fines for firearm violations were recently increased and can now top $14,000 per violation. Andrew Dimbert, ABC News, New York.
Well, as expected, we are starting to see more and more delays at major airports around the country. A live look at the misery map via FlightAware. In California, some evacuation warnings already issued in Ventura County due to flooding concerns. LAX was some of our early day delays. Right now, DFW International leads the way in the country with 28 delays, followed by Chicago O'Hare and Baltimore Washington International Airport. Down in Houston, both Houston Hobby and Intercontinental, they are seeing some delays as well, but only about a dozen, which isn't too bad considering the number of flights they're going to be outbound and inbound today.
Yeah, most definitely. And even thinking about that system that they were talking about that's impacting Southern California, that's actually the same low pressure system that's going to bring some weather changes to our area just ahead of the Christmas holiday. So we've got a lot to talk about, at least leading up to this stretch of days to Christmas Eve and even Christmas Day. Let's get you the latest, though, look at the fog conditions out there. Still have some lowered visibility, especially up near the Bernie area, up into the hill country along Highway 90 and pointing northward. That's where we've really seen some of that denser fog and heavier mist really set in this Thursday morning. And we still are tracking some light showers and some pockets of drizzle pushing across south central Texas as well. The latest look here at your authority priority radar. For the most part here in San Antonio, we don't have a lot of the notable shower activity. A little shower, though, just to the east of Medina Lake there. That's on the far western Bexar County line. Up into the hill country near Bernie, just north of I-10. We've got a few showers tracking northward there into Kendall County. A few more just off to the east, right along the Highway 281 corridor. A little jog farther off to the west, showing some more of that shower activity moving through portions of Bandera County, near Utopia, Vanderpool, even up to the Los Maples area. Lakey as well, tapping into a little bit of light rain out there in Real County. Some of that stretches over just to the south of Rock Springs and north of Brackettville near Highway 90. Even across portions of the coastal plains, we've been able to see a few light showers there as well, near Goliad as well as Yorktown. Again, most of this activity moving in from the south and pushing farther up to the north. And that's going to be the case throughout the remainder of the day. Not going to be for everybody here, generally holding on to the cloudy skies. But you can see it's a good idea to at least keep the umbrella in the car should you need to use it. By lunchtime, a few more isolated light showers possible in and around the San Antonio area. We're going to call it about a 30 to 40% potential throughout the remainder of the day. Better chances, especially by late afternoon and into the evening. So that's something we'll be monitoring there. Even for any dinner time plans near New Braunfels, San Marcos, even near Gonzales, we could see a few showers, some light to moderate rain there as well across portions of the Winter Garden in between Eagle Pass and Cotulla. That's going to continue in some way, shape, or form. A few more isolated to widely separated showers through the overnight. We are expecting another round of some patchy drizzle, some fog and mist first thing tomorrow morning, so that's something to keep in mind. And really that's going to continue each morning through Christmas Eve on Sunday. Then we start to clear things out later in the day Sunday after we see our next cool front move through. So let's talk about that setup. You can see it's not just us dealing with the rain early this morning. That continues into the hill country, the big country, even near DFW and up into the panhandle. This is actually associated with a little disturbance out ahead of that big low pressure system that we've been talking about, sparking rain and storms in Southern California. This is going to continue tracking eastward here over the next several days. So while we're dealing with some morning rounds of patchy drizzle, fog and mist, and then a few showers each afternoon, as that low pressure system works into the central plains by Sunday, it's really Saturday night and Sunday morning where we'll find our best chance for rain. We've got it at about a 60% potential. Something to keep in mind if your holiday travel plans take you out on the roads Christmas Eve morning. But then we see that front push through. We gradually clear things out from west to east throughout Sunday afternoon. A little bit more sunshine returns into Christmas Day on Monday. We'll dry things out and cooler and drier air is going to filter in as well. Only topping off in the mid 60s. That's what it's looking like right now on Monday itself. Also, we are expecting windy conditions. We could see those north winds gust upwards of about 25 to 30 miles per hour at times. So that's something that we will be monitoring. Again, a bit more sunshine returning there. No sunshine right now, though. We are locked in under these cloudy skies. 62 degrees over at SA International. Winds somewhat calm out of the east at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. Currently at 63 on the south side at Simpson, 61 in Canyon Lake, 62 over in Hondo. Throughout the remainder of the day, expect cloudy skies, a few passing showers certainly possible. A high temperature somewhat mild, upper 60s near about 70 degrees. In terms of that temperature trend, we can expect more of the same to continue at least through Saturday, slightly warmer on Sunday after we see a little bit of that sunshine return. And then, of course, the front moving through, knocking those temperatures down by Christmas Day, mid 60s. And then by Tuesday and Wednesday mornings, that chilly feel returns, upper 30s and low 40s in the mornings.
But still a nice afternoon.
It'll be nice, especially after we get to kind of Christmas Day for any traveling home plans too.
True.
We're looking pretty good.
Good, and good for our visitors as well.
Yes, of course.
Thank you, Mia.
Thank you. 919, 62 degrees.
We'll be right back.
Hey everyone, happy holidays. I want to test out my KSAT colleagues' knowledge of Christmas carols and their lyrics. So I got my fancy tuner fork. Let's go. Dashing through the snow in a one-horse open sleigh, o'er the fields we go, laughing all the way. Bells on, bobtails ring. There you go, making spirits bright. What fun it is to ride and sing a sleighing song tonight. Oh, jingle bell, jingle, jingle, jingle bell. Okay. What's a bobtail?
It's when a tail of the horse is docked. Like
What does that mean?
Yeah. Okay. A day or two ago,
There's a second verse.
I thought I'd take a ride.
Is this the same song?
Yes. And soon
I'll have lots of pride.
I'll be in snow.
I saw Santa Claus standing by my side.
I'm heading home for Christmas and making it a good night. Oh!
They play that on the radio?
Yeah, they do. It's in soon. Miss Fanny Bright was seated by my side.
Miss Fanny?
Who's that? KSAT Explains idea.
All right.
Who is Fanny Bright?
Okay, I hadn't seen some of those responses till now.
Not this one.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, it is.
Interpretive signs at Old Town Helotes, just outside San Antonio, aim to help visitors understand its history.
Tiffany Huertas shows us some of the historic buildings there and what other plans the Historical Society of Helotes has.
And it was a western town, so cowboys went through and did their cattle drives right through this area right here. The road was much smaller then, but this was the main road. This was Bandera Road, not the highway.
Cynthia Massey knows a lot of the history of Old Town Helotes.
So this was the Jaunty Flora Country Store.
She even wrote a book about it.
Old Town was established in 1881, and it was part originally of the old Marnock Ranch. Arnold Guger, who was a Swiss American, had just gotten married to Amalia Banke, and he bought this land, 110 acres, this whole area, and he established our first general store.
I love this antique shop.
As president of the Historical Society of Helotes, Massey says their latest project is honoring the history of the town.
Some of these buildings have been in here longer than 100 years.
8 signs were placed in front of historic buildings like this one. Today, it's a women's retail shop, but it was once the Helotes General Store.
The general store is where everyone would gather, would come and find the news of the town.
With funding by the Helotes Economic Development Corporation, they produced these signs.
So what was this before?
It was a grocery store. And what was unique about this originally is that it was right during the Depression that Mr. and Mrs. Riggs owned it. They're the ones who built it. And they were known to be very generous to people. So when people would come in and didn't have money, they would barter. They would take jewelry or whatever that the person had if they didn't have money.
The Historical Society of Helotes also helped bring walking tour maps for visitors. Massey is proud of this project and looks forward to future ones.
I just think it's very important for us to always remember history, to remember where we came from.
Massey says they hope to add more signs like this to other historical buildings and add walking tours in the future. Reporting from Old Town Helotes, Tiffany Huertas, KSAT 12 News.
Right now, 926, 62 degrees.
A lot more ahead on GMSA at 9. And when we come back, we're talking product safety for certain baby and kiddo items that could still make it under the Christmas tree this year, even though they've been recalled.
Outside with live cam. Still fairly mild out there, just tons of moisture in the air. 410 looks dry right now, and things look so tranquil out at the airport from this view. We know it's a whole different story on the inside.
Yeah, here's that other story. This is a Loop 410 at East Houston. This is the accident we've been talking to you all morning about. You can see it's causing quite a holdup there. So you may want to make other plans if you have to head in this direction. We'll be right back.
All right, welcome back to GMSA at 9. We're still following the latest with this 18-wheeler crash, which has absolutely snarled traffic there on the east side. Looking at Loop 410 here in both directions. So this is the southbound lanes of Loop 410, and you can see that traffic is basically at a standstill. Crews have shut down the southbound lanes here at Loop 410. So basically what happened is that we had an 18-wheeler, this 18-wheeler right here, traveling northbound. What you're looking at here are the northbound lanes, and you see just a little bit of traffic getting through here. 18-wheeler loses control, crashes crashes into the concrete barrier, the concrete median, and pushes the barrier out onto the southbound lane. So what you're seeing right now are crews, they're trying to clear out some of that concrete, some of that mess that was caused by this 18-wheeler crashing into this concrete barrier right now. So southbound lanes appear to be completely shut down right now. Loop 410 at East Houston. We're getting one lane of traffic open here on the northbound lanes, which is where that 18-wheeler was going. So a quick look at our maps, kind of give you an indication of the traffic here. And again, we're seeing a lot of red here, so this is not good. If you are heading northbound right now, if you're around the Rigsby area, I would suggest trying to avoid this 410 altogether. You could take WWY, but it's going to take you about 30 minutes, about half an hour just to go north about 3 miles, which usually take, maybe about 5 to 10 minutes at the most. So there is South WWY right here, which runs in both directions. You could take that if you're coming from the north side or the southbound part of 410. But again, a major crash here being reported, 18-wheeler. We have southbound lanes of 410. That has been completely shut down. One lane getting through here on the northbound side. So it's been very busy out there. On the east side, hopefully crews can get this cleared out maybe within the next hour or so. All right, Mia, how are things looking outside right now?
Well, the weather definitely hasn't helped with the morning commute in spots. It has been a little damp. We've seen patchy fog, lowering visibility. It is very cloudy out there. We've even seen a few light showers and some patches of drizzle push across the region as well. Not so great news in the pollen count today either. Take a look at this. Mountain cedar still very elevated this Thursday in the high category. Molds are present, but at least they're a bit lower currently in the low category. So we'll keep eyes on that here as we get ready to wrap up the week and head into the Christmas holiday. Here's the latest on your authority radar. Again, we still do have some light showers, especially out there in Medina County. That stretches up into the hill country in between Highway 90 and the I-10 corridor, even a few showers along and just east of Highway 281. So of course, we'll continue to monitor this throughout the remainder of the day. Generally, a few more passing showers are expected even into this afternoon and evening before a few more rounds of some morning drizzle, some fog and mist continue, not just Friday and into Saturday, but another chance to rain early Christmas Eve morning. Temperatures pretty mild, upper 60s, low 70s. We see that front move in on Christmas Eve. That will gradually clear us out from west to east. It will be windy on Christmas Day, but very pleasant, low humidity, a bit more sunshine and some cooler air. So we'll get you a full look at that timeline coming up a little bit later on. Mark and Steph.
Thank you, Mia. Well, in recent headlines, major retailers have been doing away with the sale of water beads because of the danger it poses to babies and young children. But similar items could still make their way under the Christmas tree this year.
Joining us this morning to talk more about this, Ashita Kapoor, the Associate Director of Product Safety at Consumer Reports. Good morning, Ashita.
Good morning.
Well, what do testing standards and safety regulations look like for baby products, and how are dangerous products still entering the market?
Yeah, so there is an agency called Consumer Product Safety Commission that actually looks at all of these standards, and there are federal standards that exist across the U.S. that companies should be complying with when they're putting products in the marketplace. But of course, with the amount of products that exist out there, we know that the risk is definitely going to be high. And we know with online marketplaces being super easy to purchase, I ordered today, I have it this afternoon. It's really, the risk is high with the amount of products that we see out there. So there are mandatory standards. There are also voluntary standards that exist. But again, we want to make sure that manufacturers and retailers have good practices in place and robust quality systems in place to make sure products are safe that are out there.
Ashita, what are some of the dangerous baby products for sleep time?
So sleep time, that's a good one. We definitely recommend, of course, Bear's Best. So we want to make sure that parents are using, of course, cribs and bassinets. But of course, as you can see, there are products such as loungers that exist that are out there. They're easy to use, easy to carry around, but the risk is just so high because these are misused for sleep. And this can lead to children rolling over, leading to suffocation, and also falling out of the product. In addition to that, there's also weighted sleep sacks, which are not recommended by pediatricians or the AAP just because of the additional weight that it provides on the chest of the baby. And this could lead to long-term breathing concerns.
And what about playtime for baby? What are the dangerous products for that?
Oh, so playtime. I mean, there's tons of toys that have come up recently. Water beads, as you mentioned, that's being one of them. I mean, these are small polymers that can grow to the size of a golf ball. And you can imagine if these are ingested, same thing with high magnetic balls as well. These can lead to major obstruction in the body as well and lead to hospitalization, obstruction, and I mean, the list goes on. I mean, these things, if you see them, these are not an item that you want to have on your Christmas list this year. So if you have them in your home, I would say definitely disregard of them immediately.
What precaution can parents take to avoid bringing home potentially dangerous products?
So I think definitely looking out for recalls. CPSC always announces recalls, so I would say, be on top of that. Also, Consumer Reports recently launched our You Baby page, which definitely has great advice, great tips. We rate our products, we test our products, at outside third-party labs. So I would say definitely use that as a great tool to really, pick out products that you're planning on purchasing for the holidays.
All right, Ashita Kapoor from Consumer Reports, thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
Well, besides hazardous items, another thing to look out for this holiday season are scams. They seem to be ever present. And this year, there's a special focus on gift cards.
Better Business Bureau is warning that gift card scams are rising right now. CNN's Jen Sullivan explains how you can protect yourself.
They're a popular holiday gift idea, but scammers are increasingly targeting gift cards to steal from you.
Gift card scam reports are up 50% for 2023 over 2022, and we're not even done with the year yet.
The Better Business Bureau is reporting a surge in gift card scams, warning that scammers could be tampering with gift cards and stealing barcodes, or targeting online shoppers and asking them to pay with a gift card that's not from the retailer.
That's a huge red flag. There's a lot of scams that are perpetrated where the scammer is asking for a gift card, such as like a grandparent scam or a utility scam.
The BBB also warns consumers that scammers use other tactics to steal from them too. Before you buy a gift card, here's what to look out for to avoid becoming a victim. 1. Check for stickers covering the barcode by rubbing your finger over the back of the physical card. The stickers may contain a phony barcode, and when it gets scanned at checkout, you'll unwittingly be sending that cash to the scammer's account. 2. Be careful of websites that check your card's balance. The BBB says some sites could use your card's ID number and PIN and drain money from it.
When you buy a gift card and you give that number and that PIN to somebody, that money's gone. So it's really important to know who you're giving it to and what they're going to use it for.
And finally, check for ripped or wrinkled packaging. The BBB says thieves often remove gift cards from the display rack and record the numbers linked to that card, including the activation PIN. For Consumer Watch, I'm Jen Sullivan.
And they say don't throw common sense out the window. If it seems too good to be true, it probably is.
Avoid websites or social media ads that promote gift cards for popular retailers at big discounts because scammers could steal your payment card information. Instead, shop directly from the store.
Right now it is 9:39, 62 degrees, and we have a good update on southbound 410 over at East Houston.
That's right. Let's look up there at 410 East. We have a lane open. Again, you can see traffic is moving there finally after being non-moving for the longest time. So now we have traffic moving in both directions, although the scene is not completely clear right now.
This is again over on San Antonio's east side. We'll keep an eye on it for you. From scorching summer temperatures to a surprise tornado, Mother Nature did not hold back this year.
Meteorologist Justin Horn takes a look back at the top 5 weather events of 2023.
While the summer as a whole is coming up later in the countdown, we began with a record-setting day. At number 5, San Antonio records its highest heat index ever. On June 20th, the temperature reached 105. That's hot, but we've dealt with that before. The problem was the humidity was sky high, resulting in a heat index or feels like temperature of 116. That's the highest heat index San Antonio has ever seen since records have been kept. For number 4, we switch to the other extreme, ice. San Antonio got a dose of cold air on January 29th, with temperatures dipping below freezing in the hill country. That was followed by significant freezing rain on January 31st. The ice brought down trees in the hill country and took out power in places like Austin. It was one of the worst ice storms Central Texas has seen. Now to number 3. On October 26, a brief, weak tornado touched down near downtown San Antonio. Interestingly, it came with generally benign storms. However, the winds of the atmosphere were just right. The tornado rated an EF0 caused minor damage near Fort Sam and Terrell Hills. Many San Antonians captured the event on their phone. It was a celestial event that winds up at number 2. San Antonio was captivated by an annular eclipse on October 14th with a path that passed right over the city, creating a ring of fire. The moon moved in front of the sun, leaving many in San Antonio looking up as the event unfolded. Even more exciting, a total solar eclipse visits us next year and will no doubt make our countdown in 2024. And the winner is, at number 1 this year, the summer swelter. You probably aren't surprised by this. Just when we thought it couldn't get worse than the summer of 2022, it did. San Antonio saw the hottest summer on record, while August marked the hottest month San Antonio has ever seen since records have been kept. Plus, we saw a record number of triple-digit days, the most consecutive triple-digit days, and the most 105-degree days. Here's hoping that 2024 treats us with some cooler weather. I'm meteorologist Justin Horn.
I certainly hope so.
Oh, man, that was brutal.
It was.
And now that things have cooled off, you kind of forget about how bad it was. It looks like a periodic table full of red-hot elements.
I know there was a collective boo from all 3 of us whenever we started talking about the summer swelter.
We were like, why is that number 1?
It was just so not fun. Yeah, so thankfully we are starting to cool things down. And honestly, looking back at the year, of course, we've still been dealing with prolonged drought. That's something we've had to deal with for the past several years, just coming off of La Nina and things like that. Let's take a look at our rainfall stats as we get ready to wrap up 2023 here. Since the first of the month, just over 0.3 of an inch have fallen officially over at SA International, which is our climate site here in the Alamo City, almost an inch below where we should be for this December 21st. Since the start of the year, over 19 inches of rain, which is better than 2022, but we're still over 12 inches below where we should be when you take a look at the averages. How does that translate to the latest drought monitor that actually came in earlier this morning? We don't have a ton of changes from what we saw last week. The majority of South Central Texas still dealing with some form or classification of drought. The worst of it here in Bexar County, pointing up to the north for places like Bernie, New Braunfels, up I-35, and even stretching farther west where this extreme drought is still in place. So any little bit of rain certainly helps. And while it's not going to be drought busting with what we're expecting to find over the next several days, at least we do have some activity out there on authority radar. Here's the latest on that little shower that was moving northward out in far western Bexar County, just passed through San Geronimo, has crossed over Highway 16 there. That's now just east of Pipe Creek. As we take a look a little bit farther up to the north, still have some light rain moving through Kendall County, a few showers near and just to the west of Canyon Lake, really in between Canyon Lake and Highway 281 there, and just a few more light showers that continue to dot authority radar way out west near Bracketville, stretching up to Rock Springs, Lakey, Concan, even near Uvalde, seeing a little bit of light rain this hour there as well. So we'll continue to monitor all of this throughout the remainder of the day. Again, it is possible that we see some more light passing showers into this afternoon and even into this evening there as well. Over the next several mornings, at least through Sunday morning, we are expecting additional rounds of patchy drizzle, patchy mist, and some fog. And yes, that will still lead in some isolated to widely scattered shower activity into the afternoons, with our best chance of finding some additional rain moving in Saturday night and into early Sunday morning as we see our next cool front approach the region. So here's the big picture right now. Again, we have that little disturbance ahead of this area of low pressure out in the Pacific, sparking some of that light rain activity across a good chunk of the Lone Star State this Thursday. Temperatures to the north below freezing for places like North Platte, even Bismarck, North Dakota, Minneapolis right now sitting at at 32 degrees. Meanwhile, we are 30 degrees above that here in the Alamo City right now in the low 60s. Watch what happens on your futurecast here again as we continue to see this low pressure system move across the desert southwest. It is expected to spark some more rain across portions of New Mexico as well as Arizona by Friday and into Saturday, even some snow across the Rockies. Nothing like that expected for us here in San Antonio, just some additional rain, especially by Christmas Eve morning. And then we see that front move through. It clears us out by Sunday afternoon and evening into Christmas Day on Monday. Very pleasant. It is going to be dry out there, more sunshine, cooler temperatures, but also windy. So that's something that we need to look at as we head into Monday morning. Some gusts upwards of 30 to maybe even 35 miles per hour will be possible. So we, of course, will keep you updated on all of that throughout the rest of this week and even into this holiday weekend. You can see after that front moves through, though, it is going to be absolutely beautiful. Cold mornings, upper 30s, low 40s by Tuesday and Wednesday. More sunshine and high temperatures, very pleasant, topping off in the 60s.
Looks good. Yep, we'll take it. Thank you, Mia.
Let's talk Spurs. It's game day in Chicago. Wemby is probable after missing the Bucks game. Devin Vassell is questionable tonight. They continue their 3-game road trip tonight. 7 o'clock, Spurs take on the Bulls in Chicago. Go Spurs, go.
Yes, go Spurs, go. And let's look out there with Zoo Cam. Oh, Hippo Cam this morning. Let's see. They're on the rock. Behind the logo. Okay, can you see him, Mark?
Nope.
Top left.
Can't. Not on our monitor, Alex. Sorry.
Okay, hippos. We'll come back to you. It's a great
She's
day
like
to go.
They're there. Okay.
Welcome back. It's 9:53. So since it's December, you may not be thinking about lawn care right now, but this next story still cuts to the core of the holiday season.
ABC's Danny New spoke with a man who's gone viral for donating his very specific set of skills to his neighbors. Check it out.
If you own a home in Wichita, Kansas, you may one day receive a knock at the door.
I've gotten a lot of different reactions.
I do free lawn transformations in the neighborhood. I'd love to take care of it for you. You're gonna make me cry.
Every week, Spencer here finds yards around his hometown that need a good trim and offers to clean them up pro bono.
Do you get the itch? You're like, I gotta fix that thing.
Yes, my heart immediately starts beating a little bit faster when I see a crazy overgrown lawn.
Now, Spencer was already running his company, SB Mowing, when he got this idea 2 years ago. He started providing these free touch-ups, which he would record and then post to his social media channels.
It blew up almost overnight.
But now, millions of subscribers later, social media has enabled Spencer to make his full-time job mowing people's lawns for free.
It is extremely rewarding.
On TikTok, he has nearly 8 million followers. On Facebook, over 10 million. And many of his followers also come because they find his videos relaxing.
I get a lot of people that send me messages that they fall asleep to my videos every night.
That's crazy because most of my life, I've woken up to people mowing the lawn.
I really appreciate it. It's awesome what you did.
I'm glad I could help you out.
But for Spencer, he mainly hopes that his deeds inspire people.
It's hard to describe the feeling without just telling you to go out and do it yourself to see how it feels.
You heard him. Everyone should try it. And then, if my math is right, eventually we would all get free lawn care, right? Great idea, Spencer. Everyone go mow someone's lawn for free. And then eventually it'll be your lawn. In New York, for ABC News, I'm Danny New.
Quick check.
It's really nice, though.
Yeah, right? Yeah. How many people were like, he can come to my yard? All right, 410 right now is still okay. Southbound is now back open. We're expecting the possibility that we could see one or more lane closures as they continue to try to move this big rig off that divider that was moved as it crashed into it earlier.
Well, at least there's movement. That's an improvement from earlier when, things weren't moving at all.
Yeah, so this is over on San Antonio's east side if you have to run any errands or beyond that part of town anytime today.
That's right. Try to avoid it because it'll be slow going. Have a good day, guys.